सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। The last portion of the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita deals with question that Arjuna comes up with. And the question of Arjuna is, Bhagavan, what happens ayati shraddhayopetaha yoga chalitamanasaha aprapya yoga samsiddhim kamgatim krishna gacchati. So Arjuna asks this question in Shloka number 37. That Bhagavan, he says, ayatihi, but shraddhaya petaha. The person did not get a chance to become yati, meaning a meditator, a yogi, did not get a chance to attain siddhi in yoga. But shraddha upetaha, endowed with great faith, yoga chalitamanasaha, and that mind was not completely rooted in the vision of Paramatma, and aprapya yoga samsiddhim, and not having attained this siddhi, Bhagavan, what happens? Kamgatim Krishna gacchati. Bhagavan, what happens to such a soul which, having acquired the bhagya of learning from a guru, having acquired this great amount of, not just having bhagya of a guru, but the ability to stay with the guru and learn and put it into practice. But the practice was not able to bear the fruits of siddhi. And thus over here, each word which is uttered by Arjuna is so powerful. Ayatihi, the person wanting to become a yati, but not having reached the status of a yogi. And shraddha upetaha, because the ascending of the ladder of yoga is dependent upon how much faith we have. When we enter meditation, the meditation is a function of our belief system. Because we have not met Bhagavan, yet we are embarking on this journey to meet Bhagavan, to reach absolute, to enter the kingdom of infinitude with such lofty ideas and a belief in that idea, we embark upon this journey of meditation. So, Shraddhaya upetaha yoga chalita manasaha, the mind has wandered away into some other fields, and thus Siddhi was not attained, yet faith was there. And because of the distractions of this mind, the mind was not able to reach the higher. And these distractions ultimately took the jiva into such a gati that the times of the life were drained. And over here it is said, aprapya yoga samsiddhim. Not having attained this absolute, the jiva meets premature death. Then Bhagavan, what happens? Kam gatim Krishna gacchati. And that is the question which over here Arjuna has asked Bhagavan. So we left off with all the follow-up questions, which is the same thing. In different ways, Arjuna is asking the same question, except he's a little bit more personal. So now Bhagavan answers, and we will start from shloka number 40. Even though we left off at 41, we are recapturing because it is a very interesting section of this chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita. Shri Bhagavan uvacha partha naiveha namutra vinashastasya vidyate nahi kalyana krut kaschit durgatim tata gacchati. What a beautiful answer Bhagavan starts out with. And he refers to Arjuna as Tat. He is referring to Arjuna as, oh my son. You know, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Lord Bhagavan Krishna addresses this question. And he says, Hey Parth, na eva iha na amutra tasya vinashaha vidyate. So Bhagavan is saying, Arjuna, for such a person, a yogi in the making, and because of the distractions of the mind, which are perennially present in all of us, because it is the nature of the mind to be fickle. And that fickle mind takes us here and there. Bhagavan is saying that, Hey Parth, na eva iha, neither here nor na amutra, nor even in the higher kingdom, in the higher worlds, tasya yogi, that yogi is vinashaha vidyate. There is no destruction of this divine soul who fell short of acquiring siddhi in this world and not having attained that world. So it is not that he's left out from this world or left out from the other world. Because Arjuna had said that the yogi made so many the yogi, in order to engage in yoga, made so many choices to remain in the life of practicing this yoga of meditation, that that jiva deprived themselves of all the joys of this world. They lived a disciplined life, ate properly, went to bed properly, woke up properly, was engaged in satsang, did good deeds, sat down for meditation. So, living a very disciplined life, it is as though the jiva deprived themselves of all the joys in this world for the promise of reaching the higher world. So Arjuna says that he is left out from this world and the other world. So Bhagavan says his destruction has not happened neither in this world nor in the higher world. In this world, he lived a very good life and he has earned a good name in this life, in this world. So how can there be a destruction of such a jiva? Not only that, but Bhagavan calls such a jiva kalyanakrit, the one who has done good to others. Okay, even if the person did not do good to others, at least they were good to themselves and stayed put with their own sadhanas. So they did not disturb the world. At least they did not disturb the world. If they positively did not do anything good for the world, they at least did not destroy the world, damage the world, hurt people. And thus Bhagavan calls any spiritual aspirant Kalyanakrit. What a beautiful way to address a jiva. Kalyanakrit. Nahi kalyanakrit kaschit durgatim tat gacchati. Hey tat, oh my dear son, my dear boy, there is no destruction of a yogi who has put time and effort to ascend the ladder of yoga. This is what Bhagavan is saying, that when we engage in doing good deeds, which is just trying to live a spiritual life, we are already Kalyanakrit. We have done good to the world. We have engaged in auspicious life. Our activity in life has been auspicious. That is what Bhagavan is saying. Continuing with the next shloka, Bhagavan says, shloka number 41, Prapya punya krutan lokan ushitva shashvati samaha shuchinam shrimatam gehe yoga brashto bijayate. This is a very often quoted shloka of Bhagavad Gita, which scholars use this shloka as a proof for the theory of reincarnation, that it is mentioned by Bhagavan himself that there is reincarnation. Bhagavan says, Prapya punya krutan lokan. Okay, this person did not reach the highest siddhi of self-realization, but the jiva definitely attained higher divine worlds. Prapya punya krutan lokan. Lokan, world, punya krutan. The attainment of those worlds are only available by spending the punya that we have accumulated. You know, if somebody wants to go to another country for education, they have to secure an admission in a university in that nation. Not only that, after that, they require a student visa from that country's consulate or an embassy. And when the visa is available, the person is able to make the travel from their own country to another country. Simple student visa. Even work visa, we have H1 visa, people who come from India over here, different types of visas. So the entry into a particular country is dictated upon the terms of how the person is going to enter, for what reason, what is the duration, and what happens after the visa expires. All these terms are clearly dictated. And the person who is making this travel, it is their responsibility that they are aware of it. In the same way, to go to higher worlds, visa is required. But the visa is the punya that we have accumulated becomes the visa, which marks the entry. And not only does it mark the entry, but the departure is also determined. And thus, this shloka, Bhagavan Krishna says, Prapya punya krutan lokan. When the punya is accumulated, the person will be able to enter the higher worlds. So, prapya punya krutan lokan ushitva shashvati samaha. And the person having ushitva dwelt over there, shashvati samaha, equivalent to hundreds and thousands of years. Because, the time frame is very different in different lokas. Over here, we have 24 hours, which determines one day and one night, which becomes a human day. And then 365 of those makes 1 year. In the same way, different time scale determines 1 year in the higher worlds. 2000 Chaturyugas makes 1 day of Brahmaji, and 2000 Chaturyugas make 1 night of Brahmaji. And like that, Brahmaji lives for 100 years. That time scale, it is coming up in 8th chapter. Bhagavan will describe Brahmaji's life. And how old is Brahmaji today? When we do Sankalpa, Shubhe Shobhane Muhurte Adya Brahmanaha Dvitiya Para Ardhe. Right now, Brahmaji Adya, right now, Brahmanaha, Brahmaji, his age. What is it? Dvitiya Para Ardhe. There are 2 halves, 50 years and 50 years. He has just crossed the first, so Brahmaji is only 51 years old. Brahmaji is 51 years old. Imagine how many cycles have gone through. And the jivas, when they acquire punya, and this is the highest loka we can attain, it is called Brahma Loka, where Brahmaji becomes the Brahma Vidya Acharya with Vagvadini Saraswati ji sitting next to him, and we will have the ability to learn Shastra by Swayam Chaturmukh himself. The four Vedas will speak to us. And it is said that even in that loka, there is politics as to who sits in front of Brahmaji in the hall over there. In the Saraswati Nilayam of Brahma Loka, people fight for sitting in front of Brahmaji. Even over there, imagine, and all of these people have acquired so much punya that they have acquired Krama Mukti, it is called. Jivan Mukti, they were not able to attain, but they were able to go to some higher loka, Brahma Lok, and over there, when Brahmaji's term is dissolved, all the jivas who have entered the Brahma Loka, they will all attain mukti along with Brahmaji. Who says so? Shastra. We have to have faith in what is said over here, because nobody has gone to Brahma Loka and come back to prove that to be true. But faith, when we have in Shastra and we believe in it, that faith takes us and moves us towards higher. And the higher we go, these frivolous questions will fall off and right questions will remain. Who am I? What is my purpose? And when that alone remains, the time scale of the universe, the time scale of other lokas, it makes no difference. We live for mere, if we are lucky, 100 years. And Mother Earth is 480 billion years. And in another 500 million years, Mother Earth will become inhabitable, like Mars and Venus. That is what science tells us. As the sun is expanding, the heat is increasing, and in another 400 million years, the sun would have consumed Mercury. It would have expanded that much. So, how do we believe in all these things? We accept science and we accept spiritual science. And spiritual science tells us that the jiva's journey continues. And the jiva's journey is completely dependent upon how well the jiva has lived and how much punya jiva has accumulated. If we've given trouble to a lot of people and we've brought tears to a lot of people, that only means we will go to lokas where we will experience tears. But if we have brought joy, smile, and happiness and goodness to the world, we will be taken to the worlds of greater joy. That's all. So over here, Punyakrutan Lokan are the lokas where joy is sustained. Our nature of Ananda is introduced to us. And the person will live there for ushitva samaha, for long time enjoying all this. But then the visa is to expire. So they will have to leave those worlds because the jiva's journey is not over. They didn't attain Brahma Loka, they attained other lokas where Jnanam is not given, but joy is there. So the jiva's journey is to continue to acquire knowledge and to bring an end to the cycle of birth and death. Thus, Bhagavan says, Shuchinam Shrimatam Gehe, in the house, Gehe, in the house of Shuchinam, of very pure, divine ones. Shrimatam, the ones who are well-to-do and are endowed with Shrimatam. Please don't think it is just the material wealth. They have all different types of Shri. And the highest Shri is Vidya, Vidya Lakshmi, Dhana Lakshmi, Dhanya Lakshmi, Vidya Lakshmi, Veera Lakshmi, Vijaya Lakshmi. All different types of Lakshmi is there. So, Shrimatam, endowed with all types of Shri, all types of wealth. Meaning, the jiva will not have to work very hard to finish the details of life, such as roti, kapda, or makan. The food, clothing, shelter will be well taken care of. And on top of that, over here, Shuchinam, very pious, very divine, house of such great people, Yoga Brashtaha, the one who has fallen from the yoga. Over here, what is said is spiritual failure of the previous birth becomes the spiritual genius of this birth. This is what Bhagavan is saying. Yoga Brashta is a spiritual genius of this birth, but such a person was a spiritual failure of past birth. So this is how Yoga Brashta is defined. Bhagavan says, that person, Arjuna, you are asking about, the one, Yoga Chalita Manasa, Kam Gatim Krishna Gacchati. What happens to such a person? Bhagavan is saying that person is never forgotten. That person, Shuchinam Shrimatam Gehe, Yoga Brashtaha Abhijayate. Not just Jayate, Abhijayate. See, the Upasarga Abhi is born again. That means he will continue the spiritual practice exactly where it was left off. The jiva will continue from there. That is Abhijayate. He is born again and will continue from where he was left off. Not that he has to start all over again. Yeah, A for apple, B for boy, C for cat, all that boy will start, boy or girl, whoever it is, whichever yoga brashta. So all that they will learn how to walk and talk and swim and this and that. But the spiritual knowledge will just awaken. And the jiva will move at a gati which is unique and nobody can equal that. And we see spiritual genius, we see musical genius. How is it that the mother and father don't know anything about music, but the child is born a prodigy in music, but they have the ability to hire all various teachers so that the geniusness of the child can be banked upon, and the child is helped in the young days with all the teachers and tuition and learning, and can excel even more. But in a spiritual family, imagine Shankaracharya ji born in Aryamba's family, such a devout, pious mother, father who was so true to karma kand, and also learning wasn't just karma by itself, karma supported by jnanam. In childhood itself, Shankaracharya ji finished all karmas. Like that, we see so many children. So, Bhagavan over here is Prapya punya krutan lokan ushitva shashvati samaha shuchinam shrimatam gehe yoga brashto bijayate. Bhagavan says this yoga brashta is born in such wonderful families. Athava yoginameva kule bhavati dhimatam etadidurlabhataram loke janmaya didrusham. So Bhagavan says, or athava yoginam dhimatam kule bhavati. Bhagavan says, in the other one is Shuchinam, in a pious people's home, Shrimatam, well-to-do people's home. Now Bhagavan is saying, or depending upon the stature of this yoga brashta, depending upon how much the jiva has learned and how much the jiva needs to learn in order to complete the spiritual journey, Bhagavan says, Yoginam eva kule, will be born in the kula of yogis, and dhimatam, and intelligent people. When we read the book Autobiography of a Yogi, Paramhamsa Yogananda, and we see the spiritual genius and how he comes in contact with his guru, not an ordinary guru, and how that guru is guided by another illustrious guru. This is called Yoginam Kule, and only such a person can produce Autobiography of a Yogi. We may read that book and do all that Paramahamsa Yogananda has done, we will go nowhere if we don't have this guidance. A powerful guru is required to awaken the spiritual nature in us. That is why Bhagavan says, Yoginam Kule, Dhimatam Kule. I always, when I go to India, I like to go to Gita Press Gorakhpur, and I always buy books, autobiographies or biographies of great saints. great saints and sages. And when we read the lives of these sages, these saints, absolutely mind-boggling. There is a reason why Vedvyas Maharshi Ji composed 18 Puranas, stories. These stories of not just God and avatar of God, but it is stories of how people with their simple thought could make the absolute incarnate. It's not ordinary. These are dhimata, very, very, very intelligent people who have penetrated the science of spirituality. Today we know so much about the DNA and the ATGC base pair and what it does and what kind of genetic diseases are there, and what we know is just a mere scratch of a surface in the field of genetics and biochemistry and mathematics and physics and nuclear engineering and whatever it may be. This is material science. We have scratched the surface. Just in a matter of some 30, 40 years since the discovery of the electricity and then putting it into the electrical engineering field in 1960s and in 70s, a massive computer to the desktops of the 80s, to the laptops of the 90s, and the hand tops of present day. How much we have leaped in science. And this is a mere scratch in the surface, you know. In the palm of the hand, what all we can do. But imagine 100 years from now, what that child will be doing. This is material science. And if material science is just scratched, then spiritual science. Purusha Suktam says, Pado o yasya vishwa bhutani tripadasya mritam divi. 1/4 is manifested, 3/4 remains in the unmanifest. And that is of the Prakriti. And Purusha is even beyond that, which never manifests. And those people who know about that dhimata and the science to reach that yogi. Bhagavan says to find birth in such a family or such a unique person who can give this realization. Etad, he durlabhataram, he's using superlative degree, extremely rare of the rarest, durlabh. But this is durlabha and durlabhataram. Ahaha, very rare. You know, Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa tapped Vivekanand ji and said, experience this truth. And he tapped again and said, now I'm taking it back. Work your entire life for this. At the end, I'll give this back to you. Who can do that? A tap. And for that Narendra, who is an agnostic, to come in touch with not just an astic, but an astic of a superlative degree, where the rest of the city just calls him the madman of Dakshineshwar. But something in him told him, there's something beyond this madman. He's worshipping a stone statue, but he's not ordinary. He knows something. It is that Shraddha of Vivekananda to pull out the Gurutva of Sri Ramakrishna. And it is the student who gives the name to the Guru as Paramahamsa. Hamsa Hamsaya Vidmai Paramahamsaya Dhimai Tanno Hamsa Prachodaya. That Paramahamsa Dhimata. If we look at the worldly standards, you can call him almost illiterate. But when you look at the spiritual standards, till today, nobody has come in the category of Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa. This is what Bhagavan means. Etadhi durlabhataram loke janma yadi drusham. But Bhagavan says, Arjuna, if there is a yoga brashta like Vivekananda, do not doubt, I will create a Ramakrishna for him. In fact, the advent of Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa was only for Vivekananda. We think we are privileged to learn, but the privilege that we have earned is the privilege of punya karma, which unites us in this moment to pick up this book and to appreciate the spiritual science. And when we appreciate it, what he can do, Bhagavan says, the journey of the soul, the story of the journey of the soul will be completed in one way or the other. If I have to produce the rare among the rarest, I will produce. Even if it is difficult, such a yoga brashta will not go in vain. This is Bhagavan's teaching that none of us are accidents. None of us are wandering aimlessly. We are wandering in the direction in which our punyas are taking us. All we need to do is pay more attention to our sadhana and acquire positively punya, because it is only with the mahatam Punya patyena pumsam advaita vasana. With the currency of punya, a human being acquires even a vasana of advaita. Otherwise, advaita is not even available for charcha. This is what Bhagavan is saying, that life after death all depends upon how much we have acquired in this birth. We must strive to be good, to do good, and to do good to this world. Whatever Bhagavan gives us, wealth, knowledge, wisdom, we must learn to share, because that is acquiring our punya for spiritual growth. Continuing, next shloka Bhagavan is saying, Tatra tam buddhi samyogam labhate paurvadehikam yatate chatato bhuyah samsiddhau kuru nandana. Bhagavan says, Tatra tam buddhi yogam. Tatra, in that birth, Bhagavan says, buddhi samyogam. He will be united with that buddhi over here in that BMI chart, that buddhi, it will be united from the past births. That same buddhi will germinate, because the seeds of spirituality were sown over there. Labhate paurvadehikam. In the previous bodies that the person, body or bodies, all that was acquired of previous births, all of a sudden it will be available. Yatate chatato bhuyaha. And again, bhuyaha, again, yatata, the person will put forth effort. Samsiddho kurunandana, and such a person will acquire siddhi here and now, and will acquire siddhi of self-realization. That is what will acquire. Yatate chatato bhuyaha samsiddho kurunandana. That's why all these shlokas are what our great minds in Hinduism, in Sanatan Dharma, have thought upon these words as the doctrine of reincarnation and the doctrine of karma. What karma is capable of producing. This world is not an accident. Nothing is an accident. As per our punya, we acquire not only our parents, our siblings, our position in the family, the condition in which the family is living. Sometimes the arrival of a son or a daughter changes the bhagya of the mother and father, because the bhagya of the child demands such things, and all of a sudden the bhagya of the parents has changed. It is true. Each one of us have bhagya, and thus very important when we are united in marriage or the association, we look for these things, because none of us are living life for the first time. Many lives we have lived, but in this life that we have attained, we have to make sure that we do justice to it. And thus, Bhagavan over here reiterates the doctrine of reincarnation. Continuing, shloka number 44, Bhagavan says, Purvabhyasena te naiva hriyate hyavashopi saha jignasurapi yogasya shabda brahmati vartate. So, Bhagavan says, saha purva abhyasena tena eva hiyate hiyavasho. Purva abhyasena, as per the abhyas or the practice done in the past lives. In the past, whatever was done, tattatam buddhi samyogam, in the past shloka it was said, uniting with the buddhi. But specifically now Bhagavan is going into the details, uniting not into just the buddhi, but the abhyas that buddhi did. And that abhyas creates a samskara. And that samskara is what is united with. So specifically, Bhagavan has not used the word samskar. But what he's implying is the samskar for that germinates. So, purva abhyasena tena eva hiyate. What is born from this purva abhyas is the samskara. And what is a samskara? A samskara is the innate samanya dharma that we embark upon in that particular birth to go towards the absolute dharma. It is also known as swadharma. He is united with his swadharma. And the swadharma or spirituality effortlessly arrives. As per the practice of previous births. Purva abhyasena tena eva hiyate Yavashopi jignasurapi yogasya. And such a person, he will immediately become jignasu. Jignasu is a desire to know this yoga. From childhood, he will seek out. It is not an accident that Narendra ends up in Dakshineshwar and becomes, the rest is history, becomes a founder of a great mission going on for more than 100 years now. So, it's not an accident. Over here it is said, Hiyavashaha, helplessly, as though the Vasna itself takes him over there. And nobody can stop. The mother wants him to get married. She's a widow, poor. But nothing can stand between him and his jignasa. Nothing can come. Thus, jignasopi yogasya shabda brahma ativartate. Goes beyond Shabda Brahma. Shabda Brahma is Shastra. Goes beyond Shastra. Because Shastra captures Brahman in Shabda. So, Shabda Brahma is Tattvamasi. How many times we have all heard Tattvamasi, Ayamatma Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, but nothing happens. Unless this abhyas is done, but this particular yoga brashta Shabda Brahma Ativartate goes beyond. The Shastra is just indicating, goes beyond and comes to rest in that absolute. This is what Bhagavan is describing. You know, this is some afterthought of Arjuna regarding a doubt that he had. That, okay, you are asking me to meditate, I will meditate. But what if this happens? Because he realized the fickleness of the mind. How many times we tell ourselves, oh, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to meditate, and not all meditation days are the same. Some days are actually quite painful because the mind just goes off in some thoughts and some ugly thoughts. We don't know where it came from, but the fact is that it does. So part of our sadhana is to figure out how to go beyond this mind going in all these directions. That is also sadhana. And that is purva abhyas. That person will know automatically how to control the mind, how to go beyond. And they will be able to reach. We will continue next week on this. Oh. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.